Welcome to your open house training. In today's video, we're going to discuss the best ways for you to obtain clients or sell a property when doing an open house. My name is JP Letnick and I will be your host in today's riveting training video. First thing, what is an open house? Well, an open house is where you have a listing or someone else has a listing and they have a client, a seller, who would like to promote it as best as possible. They will ask you to host an open house where an agent, such as yourself, or someone that is working with you, sits at the property for an extended period of time, usually for 1 to 3 or 4 hours, and will allow other individuals that are consumers to enter the property and view it even if their agent is not with them. The task of the open house is to promote the property so that you're able to sell. However, what is typically the case is the neighbors shall come and take a look at the property because they were always curious about the paint colors on the wall, or the curtains, or perhaps the appliances that the owner has obtained for this property. In that case, however, you as the agent have the opportunity to find out if this is a buyer for the property that you are representing. If you are not the agent that is representing this listing and you're simply there to help out with the open house, then voila, you may potentially be able to get this person as your client. They may be interested to purchase this unit, and if not, maybe they're interested in listing their own unit, or maybe they are just a tenant nearby and they are interested in hiring you to help them purchase a home. In either case, whether you are working to sell this unit or you are getting new clients for yourself, that is one of the main purposes of the open house. However, when we discuss with the seller of this unit, the main purpose is, of course, to sell their unit. In today's day and age with COVID, it's important to do contact tracing. So, if you have a notebook, it is best to have a pen there with sanitizer or cleaning wipes so that when someone enters the open house, you have them sign in with the name and phone number. If they would like to put their email instead, feel free to do so. However, of course, if you are inundated with people that are waiting to get in and it's -20, you may not have the opportunity to keep track of every single person coming in. You may need to force them to wait outside in the cold to keep COVID regulations intact. Now, all that being said, let's move on to the fun part. If you would like to have a business expense and bring either food or drink, of course, this is preferably not during COVID times, then feel free to do so. And there you go, any leftovers and extras is yours to take home. Your job is to wait by the window or the door, preferably not playing Angry Birds on your phone, so that you can pay attention to when people are coming up to the property. When they show up, you would like to open the door for them and allow them into the home. Ask them if they're working with an agent, and this one is key. Always ask the person, are you working with a real estate agent? If they're not, then it's fair game for you to try and recruit them as your client. If they are working with someone else though, make sure to let them know that you represent the seller if you're the listing agent, and if not, then you're not. Try not to give any information about the seller or the property, motivation. Any information that is not publicly available should not be disclosed to this person. Now that the person has entered the home, it is time to give them a house tour. If they'd like to take a look at the mechanical systems, feel free to do so. If they'd like to see how many blind slats are in the curtains, then feel free to show them as well. Of course, keep in mind that there may be other individuals coming to the home in a few minutes, so keep it as quickly as possible and answer any of their questions that they may have. If you do not know the answer to the question, do not pretend to know it, but let them know that you will find out the answer. Ask them to fill in the guest book registration and that you will be able to get back to them as soon as you can with the answer to their question. Another reason for getting them to sign the guest book when they enter is you can follow up with them later on and try to get them to be your client. Important information to note is that you will most likely want to keep in mind the main statistics of the property, such as the age of the home or the unit, how many bedrooms there are, how many bathrooms there are, the square footage of the property, the price of the property, and when offers are being collected. This is typically the questions that one of the home viewers will ask you, and it is good to know that information at the top of your head so that you look smart. Feel free to print out some MLS sheets so that you can hand them out to people if they want it, because they might not during COVID because you touched it. So maybe don't print them out. Maybe do. It's up to you. Either way, remember, the statistics on those forms make you look smart when you don't look at the paper. Once the open house is finished and you've tidied up and turned off all the lights, please remember to close the door and lock it. It's important because you never know when someone walks through the open house. They may unlock windows, they may unlock doors, so double check all of them to make sure everything is locked and all things are turned off before you leave. That way, you do not have to come back all the way back to the home to verify in case you forgot. Sellers will often like to know how many people came through and what their interest levels were, so keep a mental note or even write it down after the fact on a separate piece of paper, not on the guest book sign-in list, because you don't want the next people coming to see all your notes and scribbles. Send this information later on to the seller or the listing agent if you are not the listing agent yourself. Now we will talk about safety. Safety is important. If you are there by yourself, make sure that someone else knows what time you are starting, what time you are ending, and it is important to do a safety text message to let people know that you are safe and sound after you have entered your vehicle and you have driven away from the property. This way, we know that you are okay. Because in this scary, 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 scary world, if you're not doing an open house with somebody else, you are in danger. So keep that in mind, and happy open housing.